All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Finding the Fantastic. I'm your host, Colleen. It's time that we do this thing in life that I like to call finding something fantastic in between the hustle of surviving life and achieving it. Because let's face it, life sometimes, most of the times, quite often just sucks. And I'm a positive person. I look at the good outlook of life for the majority of time. Like, glass half full, I'm your gal. Like, fill that whiskey glass half full. That's what I'm viewing. But, if we don't face the reality, the facts that, sometimes things happen that are just bad and they hurt and they're wrong and it wasn't right or it wasn't fair, the F word. If we accept that and we understand that, we can find something fantastic. It's in the finding. It's not that every day is fantastic. But today I want to talk about why we can't talk about the D word. The D word. And by the D word, I mean the word depressed. Like, I have meetings all the time and I tell people about my podcast and why I started my podcast. I started my podcast because I was depressed. Like, for real. Like, I was some sort of athlete in high school and in college, and then boom, real life hit. And I was supposed to do this whole career, money-making, relationship evolving, family growing thing. And I was miserable for like 6 years. I was depressed because I was just going through the motions. Paying bills, working the work, trying to do this, trying to do that, putting on weight, hitting the bars, eating too much food. I was depressed. And people hear that and they're like, oh my God, you like actually admit that you were depressed? And I'm sitting there going, am I missing something? Like, I don't understand why it's like, I don't understand why it feels like I just said the F word out loud in a public place. Like, should the word like harlot be put across my chest? Like, I don't understand. Like, what's the deal? Why can't I say I was depressed? And they're like, well, most people wouldn't want to admit that because, it's viewed upon as being weak, or not be able to handle life. You're just a weaker person. And I was sitting there and I'm like, you know what? I actually don't understand, or accept any of those reasonings. And I feel like if we were more honest and open about the waves of depression that the majority of us feel, and yes, I'm here to admit it, the majority of us, I think, feel waves of depression. I think other people actually have a mental illness that like makes it more extreme. But I think for the majority of the people in this world, we all experience waves of depression. Why? Because going back to the fact that life sucks sometimes. Like, depression is the quicksand of life. Like, we all joke around with the memes. Like, as kids, we thought quicksand was going to be like so much more dangerous than what it actually is. But depression is the quicksand. Because here's what happens. Step one, something bad happens. And you're like, but it's cool, I got it. It's whatever. I can handle this. Step two, it happens again. And you're like, all right, well, that really sucked. I recovered last time. Let me do it again. Step three happens again. And you go, oh my God, I can't handle this. I'm tired. I'm worried. I can't do this. But I also can't tell anybody that I can't do this because life's stereotype, air quotes, says you can't tell anybody you're depressed or having a hard time because you're viewed as weak, which I think is garbage. And then step four, I think I'm on step four. Step four is you're in your car by yourself after said thing happened again and piled up again. You're sitting in your car and you're crying and you're listening to your soundtrack, trying to motivate yourself to get and do better and get up and make it happen. But you're sitting in your car alone, crying. Step five. Same thing, different thing, something else happens. You get back in the car or you get back in your room alone. You start crying. This time there is no soundtrack. This time there is nobody there. You are there again alone going, I don't think I can do this. This hurts. Ouch. This really hurts. And hopelessness sets in. And when hopelessness sets in, meaningless sets in. And when all those things happen, you get haunted. I call it haunted. I get haunted a lot. You get haunted by all of this. All of the voice ghosts come out and they try to slam you and lambaste you. And they're screaming in your head from every which direction. And yet at the same time, you refuse to speak out and say, I hurt and need somebody to quiet the voices around me. Why? Because society yet again sets this stereotype that we cannot tell people we're suffering with depression, that we feel like our life is meaningless, like we're going around in a circle with no point and no why. I don't understand that. Because it is at that very moment that that person is sitting in the car for the last time that the quicksand is coming all around them and they're desperately internally screaming out for a friend to just be there so that they can scream everything that they're hearing in their head out to them. But they can't because yet again, society tells us the D word is a word that attributes to somebody's weakness or somebody who can't handle it. Depression should be talked about and not talked about in a way that makes somebody feel like they have this terrible, huge, awful mental illness, because if that's the case, you're going to scare people off. People who are going through waves of haunting depression. It is okay to talk about. Share the D word. Talk about it. If we all got together and talked about the word depression and the moments we felt, then we could chime in and overcast those haunting voices of self-doubt and hopelessness and meaningless, and we could say, no, you know what? Yes, that sucks. And your despair right now has a valid point because yes, you went through this, but at the end of the day, I'm here. I know what you're going through. Do not give up. Man, I am here to tell you, I was depressed for a long time, and I still have waves of depression. I have the most zest and zeal for life you can imagine. I love life. I want to live it and have adventures. I want to create and do amazing things. But at times, because I'm so extreme on one end, I suffer so extreme on the other because I feel like I'm not doing what it is I'm meant to do. And this is why we have people out there who were shocked to hear about suffering. They were OMG, air quotes, depressed. Yes, they were, because again, they're so extreme into wanting to accomplish so many amazing things, they're going to have extreme lows. So let's stop being scared of saying the D word. Let's all start saying it and admitting it. And I guarantee you, if we start admitting that we have waves of depression, other people are going to come around us and going to help us get out of that quicksand. All right, podcast has gone on too long. I gotta go. This is Finding the Fantastic. Subscribe to my podcast, or if anything, just share this post, share this podcast, and let's start saying the D word. Let us bring it up every chance we get. Every chance. All right, I'm out. I got to go. Boop, boop.